We're in today with the GT220. We're gonna take this video card for a spin and we're gonna see how this beast of a video card is running today. 2009 was the date that this video card was released with half a gig of VRAM, 700 megahertz with a core clock of 625 megahertz. It's got 128 bits bus width, DirectX 10.1 with 48 shaders. Now I'm going to pair it up with this i7 4th gen because we want to see how it's running with Windows 7. So like I said, let's jump in a couple of games and see how this video card is holding. Actually, this is something funny. Look at the memory type. GDDR3. Kimonda. It's got Kimonda GDDR3 memory. Alright, let's start with the S.T.A.L.K.E.R series because this is very important for the GPU. So if you're interested on actually gaming on a video card like this GT220, you need to understand that the game library needs to be a little older than today's games. You know, so S.T.A.L.K.E.R series is quite fantastic. For instance, Shadow of Chernobyl, it's quite good for this video card. If you are interested on actually playing games on this video card, this is quite ideal. All right, so I'm gonna see how much VRAM is eating, how much the core is loaded, and we're gonna see what we can do in the near future. Let's see the details that we have. I'm on quality, I'm on maximum. Actually not, I'm on high details. Let's put it on maximum and see if we can adjust the contrast. We put it on maximum. See how we can do it. Still 93 FPS on average. If it's holding like this, then the game is quite fantastic for the GPU. You know, the only problem I have is that 81 degrees and 95% on the fan. It's not ideal. There's a couple of spikes here and there, but the game is very stable over 60 FPS. The only thing I don't like is that temperature on that fan. I don't understand what I can do to actually lower the temperature. I think the thermal paste is kind of old now. I think you should actually have checked it, but regardless, actually kept it a little lower with 95% on the fan. All right, let's test Clear Sky from S.T.A.L.K.E.R and see how it's running. Well, apparently you can actually see how it's running, 8 FPS. I think it's 1080p on maximum details, and the game is not friendly with this video card. You know what's that? That's Norton Commander. Oh my god, this is similar with Total Commander, and if you know Total Commander and you had that in your computer, then that means you're really old, seriously. Let's see how it's running with actually, let's take static lighting. All right, so we are in S.T.A.L.K.E.R Clear Sky, but instead of actually using Enchanted Full Dynamic Light, that is DirectX 10. Actually, let's see if that's the problem. Enchanted Full Dynamic Lightning, DirectX 10, some kind of ray tracing. Well, that's it. Apparently, it's some kind of ray tracing here, and yeah, it's making the GPU lag. Nevertheless, we're gonna disable ray tracing. Put an object dynamic lighting. Let's see this one, maybe that one. All right, I got 33 FPS, 34 FPS. So on object dynamic lightning, it's okay. Apparently, we can maybe put it on low details. Let's see. All right, so with static lightning, high details, actually I can put maximum. Okay, so definitely I like how it's performing. You know, hundreds of FPS without ray tracing on the light. This is the static lightning, maximum details, and that's it. We are in the zone, seriously, with this. Why I'm saying this with S.T.A.L.K.E.R, because this is a very good series that likes SLI and Crossfire. So in the future, I will definitely put more GPUs that are more compatible with this type of game. So do I want to look into the games that are compatible with older hardware? Yes, this is the whole purpose. Now the GT220, it's kind of old, and this is something that I would really like to see perform really well, you know, considering lots of how shall I say, games that are not even running on a game like this, so yet alone having an old classic like this running flawlessly, you know. I'm definitely into this game. 80 FPS, 100 on average. I don't think you want more from something like this. Overall, the GPU is doing a fantastic job. It's got like 82, 83 degrees on the core load. It's maxed out at the core with 626 megahertz. It doesn't have two fans. It's only got, actually it doesn't read the RPM on the fan because it's only positive and negative. So it knows by the voltage how much power it gives. So it gives 100% that is full RPM on the core, and it's not cooling it. But it gives you some interesting performance, and that's exactly what we want from a 220 video card, you know. So let's continue the series with S.T.A.L.K.E.R, with Call of Pripyat. What is this? Pripyat.
Pripyat.
Pripyat. I said Pripyat. Call of Pripyat. Pripyat. Apparently it's Pripyat. Nevertheless, let's see the settings. What we have: static lightning. This is the most generic one, you know, because if I put it on object dynamic lightning or full dynamic or enchanted full dynamic lightning direct extend, the GPU will just lag. I think this is like a performance mode. Nevertheless, we have 300 megabytes of VRAM used. The megahertz on the GPU, it's on point with 698. The core is 98% loaded. There is nothing I can do, you know, with this GPU, only if I had a bigger fan, because on 100% power, it still doesn't cool the video card. So around 80 something degrees. I will check after to see that the thermal paste. Maybe in the future I will use the video card in another system, and we're gonna have some fun. But regardless, the details are low details, you know, but without any lightning, dynamic lightning, there is nothing I can do. Apparently it looks really funny without any lights and shadows and whatever. Is very static. It's working 100 FPS on average. I want this performance overall in many games because it validates a video card like this. On the other side, the GPU, it's struggling to give me this FPS, but the CPU has no problems. Look at it, 15%. Even in this game, 20 watts, 26 watts consumption, and it barely managed to heat up. But nevertheless, I like how it's performing. I like this type of game because I will test it with SLI and Crossfire, and it will be fantastic. Alright, actually this is funny because I keep testing older video cards with dual cores and SLI and Crossfire, and the only problem I have is with a video card like this. The game done a really interesting settings. It locked it on 30 FPS, and that is loading the GPU only half with 227 megabytes of VRAM, and is keeping with 100% RPM or 100% power on the fan. It's keeping the GPU on under 70 degrees, and that's cool. Let's see the details. VSync on, full screen, graphics quality maximum. If I put the GPU on medium details and I will disable VSync, I will have 66 FPS in dead space, and that is astonishing. Even though like this it looks really good, and this is the type of game that I need to play on an older video card. 60-70 FPS, it's a number that validates the video card in an older system if you want to build it as a retro gaming PC. If you want to restore an old computer and you put it at work, you can actually find a couple of games that actually work on this. So a GT220 will actually do the job really nice. This is the whole point of me with this video card. I'm very happy. Not happy, very, very, very happy how it's performing. The only thing I will do is to take a look and see how it's fixable when it comes to the fan. That's it. A fan fix will be ideal. You don't get off. Alright, that was fantastic and actually satisfying. Seriously. It's time. Yeah, It's time. Okay, Metro 2033, it's a game that needs to be tested with SLI and Crossfire, but with the 220, I have a problem because the quality, it's even though it's low, I still have a lot of problem with FPS. So what I'm going to do is try to lower the resolution and see if I can get playable FPS, maybe 900p. Let's see. Very laggy, very choppy. I'm guessing there is a minimal resolution that you have to go on the minimal resolution in order to have achievable FPS. The core is mega loaded, the VRAM is not loaded, 300 megabytes of VRAM. So that means it's not about the VRAM, it's about the core. The core is weak. But it will be ideal to have like a dual BGA video card in order to actually do something. 80 degrees already reaching maximum temperature, and it's not funny. I wouldn't say this is playable, but I'm guessing maybe I can lower the FPS. No, I can increase the FPS if I can lower the resolution. Let's see, put it on 720p. It makes the whole screen super small. I know if I have playable FPS. Okay, I got like 26 FPS. Now it's more playable. 720p, managed to get like 27 FPS or 25 FPS on average. Not very linear, you know, the frame time is very everywhere. Oh, and every time you're firing like in a spray, it drops under 20 FPS and it's not playable. So 220. Not ideal. Definitely, we need to try Far Cry if you're interested on actually playing games with. Let me see if I can get some details performance. Low details, 1080p, 60 Hz, no VSync, DirectX 9. So if you're interested on playing some games with decent FPS, more than 30 FPS, I think Far Cry 2 is one of them. Apparently, it gives me 50-60 FPS. And it's exactly what I need for an old video card like this. Put a bundle of GPU, put a bundle of games there in a PC, in an old PC like this, and you'll have a ton of fun, seriously. Every single game that I showed you now is compatible with SLI and Crossfire. So hopefully it will be in the future on my list. So 78 degrees, 88% load on the core. It gives me an average of 70 FPS, and that's a good number. It's not something that I will say, oh, I broke the core. It's not something that I will say that is not okay. Look how I parked the car. Brilliant. So it's doing a fantastic job, seriously. This video card, it gives me 70-80 FPS on average with 90% core load. You know, it's 80 degrees on the core, but what do you expect? I'm on low details, you know, and I need a playable FPS. There is no other way you can do it. If you can lower the FPS by increasing the details. You can put it on 30 FPS and put medium details. Let's try it actually. Let's see what happens if we put it on medium details. Overall, medium details. Lots of details here. Already starting to see some details. And if I want to compare it with low details, it will look much brilliant. You know, better than the low details. See some kind of light and shadows, and yeah, the true ray tracing of before 2010. You know, 2006 ray tracing. Look at this. You're overstretching with new games, you know, and ideal will be to stay on older games and have fun with this because it makes your hardware look like it knows what it's doing, seriously. So 42 FPS on medium details, it's something that I will not neglect, you know. I will play like this because it is playable, you know. Okay, so Warhammer is one of those games that need to be in the future more attention because what happens with Witcher and the main protagonist, you know, switching to his favorite genre, Warhammer 40,000, Space Marine. You know, this is an older game that actually runs really nice on SLI and Crossfire, and we're going to test it on this 220. I don't even know the details, but we're going to take a look and see now how it's running. 1080p, post-processing off, VSync off, ambient collision off, everything is on low details. Damn, and it's still lagging. 720p. Alright, so I went in NVIDIA control panel and I told them that regardless of the resolution, make it full screen, stretch it. So on 720p, apparently in with Space Marine, Warhammer, it's getting like 40-60 FPS. This is something that I need for a video card like this. Oh, it's working perfectly. I got playable FPS, over 60 FPS on the over 70 FPS. That is really playable, not joking. I like the performance because it makes the GPU look like it's actually playable and it looks like a gaming video card, seriously. Regardless if it's got only 500 megabytes of VRAM, the GPU is doing the job, seriously. Only 238 megabytes of VRAM it's using, seriously. I need more details with this game, seriously, in order to load the video card. But the resolution, apparently, it's making the video card being bottleneck, you know. I don't want the video card being bottleneck. I want 60 FPS, so 720p, it's the resolution for this GPU overall, you know. Maybe in the future I'll get a better cooling system for that, but regardless, I think if you lock it on 60 FPS, it will be ideal and there will be no problem with the temperature. Crysis, yes, 11 FPS, not ideal. Let's take a look and see what settings we have here. System settings, 1080p, advanced, very high, if longer, seriously. Okay, so if you have Crysis in your system for an old computer, this is the game that shows you the true colors of the GPU. If it's running with more than 24 frames on low details on 1080p, the GPU is worthy. You understand? So now I got 30 FPS and I got literally playable FPS, 31 FPS. So 31 FPS is the signature approval from Crysis, you know, because we got like 400 or need over 400 megabytes of VRAM, you know. So on low details, apparently this game it's loading the GPU. Damn, very, very, very choppy, seriously. A lot of spikes, 22 FPS. Apparently I have to lower the resolution in order to make this video card work in Crysis. So I think 720p will be ideal, 720p with low details. Let's see how it's running. Alright, definitely playable, 70 80 FPS on low details with 720p. I got nearly 420 megabytes of VRAM used with this video card. It's showing me that it's on the edge with this game, seriously. Overall, I like how it's working. There's nothing you can tell me about this video card that can say otherwise. It's an old video card, it's good for a lot of games, it's good for a lot of retro games, and that's it. Office work, test bench, actually there are 3, and retro gaming. It's a lot, you know, it's a lot for an older video card. You can actually do a lot with this video card, so I'm not complaining. Literally, I'm not complaining. I like older hardwares, so